Good evening.
Good evening. I'm going to do a little bit of introduction and then it'll be all about our guests before we hand out awards. So 1 second, let me pull up my document. Okay. Welcome to the second FullerTown tournament, a partnership between Cal State University Fullerton and Georgetown University. The partnership was developed to foster relationships between programs that represent different positions along the ideological divides that separate our communities. The racial divisions that have shaped the nation are as present in our community as in any other community in the United States. It takes concerted efforts to build relations and reflexivity towards sustaining a vibrant and healthy space for the intellectual development of all students. Education must benefit all students across interests and walks of life, which is why in our time, social justice commitments should never be separated from what and how we teach and learn. Hopefully we will be able to return to in-person tournaments next year. If that is so, or hopefully this year, if that is so next year, then FullerTown will be retired and we will start our regular rotation with Georgetown hosting in 2023 and CSUF hosting in 2024. COVID is spread like wildfire through this tournament, even in the digital format, causing us to lose more than 10 teams in 2 days. So be safe out there and protect yourselves and others. I'd like to thank a few people. First, my counterpart at Georgetown, Brandon Kelly. Brandon and I had initially decided to host this as a hybrid tournament to offer the opportunity for people to travel and meet together at Georgetown while others competed online. It took a lot of preparation on Brandon's part to secure the hotel, food, competition rooms, etc., only to be told 2 weeks before the tournament that the Georgetown administration had decided against the on-campus event, given the rates of the spread of the Omicron variant. We quickly turned everything to virtual and we're back on track within days. Brandon has been an excellent partner and I hope to continue our partnership. Dr. Michaela Mousen, former director at Georgetown and now director at Emory, was instrumental to putting on this tournament. Without her, Brandon and I might have crashed and burned this tournament on any number of occasions. Michaela worked with us from the very start and was fully involved in the planning and implementation. Brandon and I are very lucky that she was willing to offer so much help. I'd also like to thank Dr. Gary Larson, our tab room guru. Gary is the one person in the country that all parts of the ideological divide trusts in the tab room, and that is saying a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Gary, for making it all happen. I'd like to thank my counterpart at CSUF, Dr. Erica Thomas, who has just had a beautiful baby boy, and the rest of the CSUF forensic staff, Max Bugroff, Latoya Williams-Green, and Colette Bloomer, for all of the work behind the scenes to get ready for this tournament. I'd also like to give a special thank you to Dr. John Bruschke, the department chair of the Human Communications Department, who worked tirelessly to secure our speakers for tonight. Special thanks to David Kramhelwich and Adrian Brevero for all of their work in the tab room. The tournament ran almost completely on time, and DCH and Adrian were critical in helping make that happen. Let me move on and introduce our speakers from the George Floyd Memorial Foundation. The murder of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer has gripped the nation for the last couple of years. The resulting wave of protest against police brutality has significantly impacted the nation. The development of the George Floyd Memorial Foundation honors the legacy of George Floyd and seeks to center social justice organizing. With us today, we have Jacari Harris and Jayson Douglas. Jacari is the executive director of the George Floyd Memorial Foundation and works closely with the family to advance the cause of social justice. Jacari is a social justice activist, inspirational speaker, and the author of Lost and Found, Finding Success in the Search for Self. His diligent efforts have led him to receive numerous awards, including the Bethune-Cookman University's 40 Under 40 Award. Jayson is a consultant who works closely with the Floyd Foundation. Jayson is a certified diversity executive, higher education practitioner, and strategy consultant. As a thought leader in education, he is obsessed with creating equitable spaces for students of all ages and serving as an active change agent within his community. His work has been featured on ABC, CBS, CNN, and BET. Let's welcome Jayson and Jacari to our debate tournament. We are super lucky to have them here speaking with us. I want to turn the mic over to them and let them make a few comments. And then if you have questions, please feel free to put questions in the chat and I will moderate those questions. But we are really excited to have you here. So welcome, Jayson and Jacari.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. It is certainly a pleasure to be on this Zoom with you all due to COVID. We can't be in person, but we are stronger together, and hopefully one day we can get back in person. So I want to thank you and especially, and I'm going to pronounce your name incorrectly, so please help me, but Dr. Bronski?
Brushki.
Brushki. Okay.
Everyone pronounces it Bruski, so that's refreshing to have it pronounced another way. It was terrific to work with you to get to have you.
But I really want to thank you for reaching out to myself and to Jayson in reference to this amazing event. And I just have to, applaud each of you all for the amazing work and strides that you have made. I'll let Jayson introduce himself and then we'll share some remarks.
Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for the invitation to come and speak with you all. In light of COVID, I recognize that this is very trying times, but as we talk about social justice and the intersection of health pandemics in this ongoing space, I do want to provide space and to those that have lost a loved one or a friend due to the ongoing pandemic, because I know that many of us at this time that has very touched us near and dear, but also knowing that at this time, there have been some folks that have been catastrophically and disproportionately affected as well, and making sure that we provide space for that. You all are doing the work, and I will say that just for the open invitation for us to come and speak with you all in just this virtual format. I know that there's other opportunities down the road, but for you all to say, hey, we want these folks to come and speak to us this evening, lets us know that you all are championing the work at your institution and are telling us that, hey, this is something that's important to us, and we're exposing our students and our campus community to this work and to this subject. So really outstanding job. Thank you so much for the invitation, and we're so excited to have this ongoing conversation.
Thanks, Jayson. So I actually started with the George Memorial Foundation immediately right when George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis in 2020. I got a call from my mentor, Ben Crump, attorney Ben Crump. He was like, can you please help us? So I actually assisted with the family through the 3 funerals. He had one in Minneapolis, the other in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, where he grew up, and then the last final one in Houston. And since then, I stood beside the family, helping them to start the foundation. And it has just been an honor to serve as the executive director. And we are a fairly new organization, but we are extremely proud of the strides and the impact that we have made just in this year and a half. Just this year and a half, we've given out over $75,000 in scholarships. Just this past Christmas, we gave out over $50,000 in Christmas gifts and paying for utilities for families in need and rental assistance and food assistance. We've even partnered with several different organizations, NAACP, Black Lives Matter, Color of Change, Sunrise Movement, so many different organizations to be the change that we wish to see. And if you don't remember anything else, I would love for you to remember this. In order to be the change, you must, in order to be the change, you must first see the change. And in order to see the change, you have to show up every single day. Put on your working boots. Put on those boots that ensures that people know that you're coming about business, that you're coming to take action, that you're coming for results, just not, minute results, or just not for those results that's just gonna put a Band-Aid, but those results that will dig up those contaminated roots in the ground, that we can ensure that our children's children is living in a safe and free and just accountable type of world. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm only 26. I'm young, Jayson's young, and we're boots on the ground, activists, holding each other accountable, holding our friends and colleagues accountable. And I encourage you all to get involved with the foundation. We have several scholarship initiatives, internship initiatives, career opportunities that are coming out, and just so many things that you can do to help us, whether it's campaign, whether it's voting initiatives, whether it's criminal justice reform, whatever it may be. We have a space for you, a safe space for you. And if you have ideas that you don't think that we're doing, where we can amplify or enhance, feel free to reach out. We want to hear your voice.
I just want to add also that the foundation is more than just an organization. It is really a truly grassroots movement. We want to make sure that everyone is involved, right? When we say the name George Floyd, that says social justice, okay? So it's as intersectional as possible. So yes, we're talking about racial justice, but we're also talking about reproductive justice, environmental justice. We're talking about disability rights. We're talking about LGBTQ rights. We're talking about it all, because you cannot say George Floyd's name. You cannot say the name of social justice without calling all of these things into context as well, right? So when we're talking about that, we want to make sure that each person that's involved within this movement has a village. And no matter where we go, no matter what we do, we always talk about that village. And that village encompasses all of us at the organization and beyond. That includes our network, our collaborators, our partners, those that we co-conspire with, right? Because you can be an ally, you can be an accomplice, but we co-conspire at the George Floyd Memorial Foundation. We want to make sure that we are walking the walk and talking the talk with you. This is a tricycle. We are here with you, and we're doing it until we can make sure that those wheels fall off. That makes sense? So please, I want to make sure that that everybody knows that this is a discussion. I don't want to just talk at you, or we don't want to just talk at you, right? Because you get enough of that sit and get all the time. But this is the discussion. So if you feel that you have something that's burning within inside of you that you want to ask or that you want to talk about, that's what we're here for, and we'd love to engage with you.
So any and all questions, we welcome them. And, like you said, we can talk all day. And I'll talk several times, talk for hours, but we want to hear from you. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear your questions and come together and answer them.
I've collated a few questions from students who got them to me early. People should feel free to continue to put things in the chat. We have about another 10 or 15 minutes that we can talk before we have to start the rest of the award ceremony. So one of the things that I think would be really useful for our students is either of you or both of you, your thoughts on what kind of skills or preparation are most useful for being a social justice advocate, activist, getting on the ground and doing work. Because a lot of the students in college debate who are interested in talking about issues of difference, and that can be across everything from race to gender to sexuality, class, nationality, et cetera. They are making lots of arguments and really debating about what are the best forms of resistance, what are the ways in which we can interact and counter the various forms of oppression that people face in our society today. And so I'm always looking for ways to describe to them how to take the things that they're learning here in this space to communicate, to be able to defend their ideas and turn that over into what you're doing, especially because you all are so young. And we have a population here that we're talking about first years who are 18 all the way to people who are 21, 22, about to graduate, and are looking for ways that they can translate their participation in racialized social movement in this space to doing more out in the rest of the space.
Absolutely. As a higher education practitioner myself, I recognize that that conversation is so important. Really what I do is I teach my students that it's really it's not necessarily that boots on the ground work that is advertised on television that helps you get integrated into social justice and helps call you an activist, right? That's something that it's not something that you're knighted with or that's bestowed upon you, right? But that's an identity. To me, that's an identity. That's something that I wake up and I know that I'm doing this work, right? And it's also recognizing that there's a social justice journey. Just like I remember the first time when I was maybe 12 years old and I saw the PETA video and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a vegan overnight. But that didn't help work, right? Because I went full throttle, I went cold turkey, but I also recognize that that is a life that I want, a lifestyle that I want to live, right? It's a journey that I want to adopt. So small steps, right? I got to remove this from my diet, then remove that from my diet until basically I'm removing my carbon footprint from my place here on earth. And I'm also making sure that I'm being more environmentally conscious and all of those sorts of things. But I also know that, again, those things intersect with all those other things. When we talk about being an activist, first you want to think about what makes you angry. I talk to my students and I say, what is that thing that's burning inside of you? Some of my students say, oh my gosh, it's every time I see the Michelle McLaughlin song that comes on that's like, talking about the animals. Or maybe it is people that's throwing trash out their window when they're driving down the highway. Or maybe it's the Black bodies that are continuously being gunned down due to police violence. Or maybe it is, the doctors who don't listen to Black women, given health concerns and so many different things. There are so many different things in the world that might make you angry, but choose one of those things first, right? Do some research, figuring out what can you do to get involved. What can you do to take those next steps to advance the work? How can you create a network or create that village or community where you can not only talk about that issue and, kind of get in the mud and kind of talk about how bad it is, but what can you do to make your footprint to advance the work? So that way, for future generations, we can change and create a lasting, sustainable impact on what is happening, right? So that's increasing your social justice journey. But then it's also important, as equally as important, not to get just locked down on that one issue. You have to think about, how does this issue affect another issue? That's how we build that intersectional bridge. Because if we're only thinking about Black bodies, if we're only thinking about animals, if we're only thinking about reproductive justice, then we're not doing the work at all. What you're doing is you're finding one thing and you're just saying that thing is important to me. But there is no way that thing is important to you as you say it is, if you don't recognize how that thing is interconnected to another thing and is interconnected truly to all things. So I think that's really how we start doing that work. You put on your boots, but then also knowing, I'm just going to add this little last part too, because it just popped in my mind, is that oftentimes people think that activists are the ones that are on the court steps at City Hall, that are the ones with the big 2x4 wooden signs and the poster boards and all that kind of stuff, and they're parading around town. We need those people. Please, if you're one of those people, continue being that person. But guess who we also need? We need the poets, we need the songwriters, we need the people who are the organizers, the logistical masterminds, we need the attorneys, we need all of those people to continuously do the work, because we can't do this work without those people. I've organized countless protests, and I know that I need my logistical masterminds to be there to make sure that we know what attorneys are we sending people to, what bail funds do we have access and available to us. What people do we have that we can say, hey, we need a mass protest right now, 250 people at City Hall? Or, so there's so many different people that we need. Also, we need the food people. So if you can cook, these people need to eat. You are an activist because you are making sure that there's nutrition and energy and value added to that space. So we need every and all people. So I'll end there because I know we're short on time.
Okay, I'm going to ask one last question. I know you all mentioned things like the scholarship funds and like food and presents drives for Christmas. What are some of the other programming interests of the foundation that you see as being sort of on the ground, very targeted at sort of social justice issues like police brutality or reproductive justice, or any of the things that you've mentioned?
Definitely, that's such a great question. So actually on Monday, we're releasing our third program, and it's our mental health program. And what we've realized, especially honestly, when I came onto the foundation, I've always heard about mental health growing up, and I'm like, I don't think we should go that route just yet. However, after going through the trial and sitting in at the courthouse and seeing the protesters and the activists and just families and the people who don't even know George Floyd, and just everyone, crying, upset, miserable. And I said, how are they going back home? What is their mental state of mind when they're going back home? Are they going to therapy? Are they relaxing? Are they regrouping? What are they doing? Or are they going to social media trying to type how they feel? And so we have decided to start for our third program, a mental health awareness program that will provide micro grants to many constituents all over the US, and also to provide resources, free resources and therapy and other just counseling resources. And we've been able to partner with the Taraji P. Henson Foundation, and we have an amazing Dr. Kalisha. What's her last name?
Dr. Kalisha Brooks.
Dr. Kalisha Brooks, who is going to be the lead consultant over this mental health program. So it's things just like that. And also we'll be working on a career readiness program about mid-March to help college graduates and young adults and those individuals who've been incarcerated to get back into the workforce, or to help those college students to ensure that when they graduate, they're graduating with a career that was within their major. They're doing the things that they are passionate about. So, we are really hitting the road running hard at the foundation, and this is just the beginning. And like I say, we are a fairly new organization, but we are just over the moon proud of of the strides that we are making. Just the other week, I was in Atlanta speaking at this event, and I seen this young man. He goes to Emory Law, and he was just dressed so professional. And he said, "Hey, I've seen you somewhere." And I was like, I told him a little about myself, and he said, "Well, listen, I don't know if you can help me, but I have a balance at Emory Law, and is there any way the foundation can help?" And just the way he presented himself, the way he asked, the way he took that risk and said, "Hey, this is who I am. Can you please help?" The foundation said, "Yes, we will help you." So we gave him a scholarship. And it's just like that. Sometimes, I always tell people, just ask, show up and just ask. You never know. All you can get is a yes or a no.
What's that song say? Closed mouths don't get fed on any
Closed mouths
boulevard,
don't get
That's
fed.
right.
And
Closed
walk
mouths
it like
don't
you're talking. That's my favorite line as well. Walk it like you're talking.
All right, now you're getting a little too much.
No, but seriously, we want to see change. We want to be the change, but you have to show up. Right. And walk that walk.
And it takes all of us, folks. It takes all of us, no matter your age, no matter your racial demographic, no matter all those things. We need everybody in the struggle. We need everybody in the fight. So please know that nobody is counted out. Everybody is counted in.
And we're gonna put I'm gonna put some information in the chat box so you can stay connected with us on social media or email. But please be sure to follow us, and just if you have any questions or need any assistance, please feel free to reach out.
Jacari, Jayson, thank y'all so much for being here and speaking with our organization, and particularly with our students. I will take all of that information that you are providing and follow up with you later, because I think it would be awesome if we could figure out how to get a debate intern from our population to work with you every summer as a part of our organizational commitments and a potential partnership, and we'll figure out how to fund it. But I just really think it's really important that some of our students get on the ground training in this kind of organizational work, so that they can figure out how to take what they're researching and speaking about and their passions and actually use it and funnel it towards something that they find to be significant and important. So we are super, super, super happy that you were here. I'm very, very thankful for your time, because you knew nothing about our little community. You didn't have to show up here. So we really appreciate it that you took your time and came to speak with us. So thank you so much to both of you.
Absolutely. And let's further increase that conversation from just one intern to a couple interns. We talked about it takes a village and it takes a community, so it can't just be one person. So let's talk about what that looks like.
That's amazing. I will be shooting you all an email. We shall chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, that was amazing. And I hope you enjoyed listening to Jacari and Jayson. And I just want to say that I want to encourage other directors to think about inviting awesome people to speak at our awards ceremony and building some relationships that may turn into amazing things like internships in significant organizations like the George Floyd Memorial Foundation. I would also just want to give a quick shout out that the Associate Dean of the College Communication has joined us. And so I want to just say hi to Deanna Leone. I'm not going to make her speak. I just wanted to shout her out and say that she's here, and just to appreciate the fact that we get so much support from our dean's office for the forensics program. And we really appreciate you. Deanna, you want to say hi to everybody?
I do. I am so proud of all of you. I am so grateful for this moment. And to all our students, keep doing the good work. To our guests, thank you for joining us. And to our faculty, you're the champions. So thank you.
Okay, I am going to turn it over to Brandon to get out these speaker awards and to announce when the bracket will be released, et cetera, et cetera. Turning it over to you, Brandon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. First, I definitely want to underscore, thank you again, a huge thank you to Jayson and Jacari. Really appreciate you all joining us. That was amazing. All right, let me share my screen real quick. Okay, can everyone see that, and can y'all hear me okay? Excellent. All right. So I want to start off with a big thank you to all of you for joining us for this year's annual Georgetown Fullerton Invitational. Very sad that, as Shanara mentioned at the beginning, we weren't able to host you all on campus this year. We definitely tried. We look forward to hopefully being able to gather with you all in person again next January. We're definitely excited to continue this into the future. I also want to take a minute up front before we dive into the awards themselves to just acknowledge the kind of unprecedented moment that we're in. I know that we're all struggling, and I do want to say in particular that I think all of you undergraduates in particular have a pretty raw deal, but and also that your coaches and judges do too. As Shanara mentioned earlier, we've had double digits teams forced out by COVID in the last 24 hours alone. And I just want to stop for a moment to acknowledge those folks and say that we're thinking of you all. But I also want to say I'm incredibly glad and grateful that we have this. Some great debates have happened over the last couple of days, and I'm really excited for another couple of days of them as we move into Elims. The last thing before we dive into the actual awards is, Shanara covered a bunch of this earlier, but I do want to briefly reiterate, a big shout out to the Fullerton and Georgetown University administration.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes.
Your advanced slide is showing. You should toggle your setting.
Oh, sorry, what?
You should.
Oh, switch the,
Yes,
can you all
can
see only one of the, I see.
Yep, we see both.
Got it. I don't know how to change that with an external.
Change the display setting. It will be a different screen.
Yeah, but you said you can see, by both you meant both of the slides, not both screens.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry, one sec. Let me flip those. For supporting us and helping helping us navigate all of this and make sure it happens, especially with the last minute pivot and everything. Also a big thank you to the coaching staff and students from Fullerton and Georgetown. Great group of folks all around. And then an especially heartfelt thank you to Shanara. You did an incredible job helping kind of put all this together and spearheading large chunks of this. And, I'm very excited, like I said earlier, to continue working with you all on this stuff into the future. As she mentioned earlier, Gary Larson, obviously just an incredible, I don't know how he does it, truly amazing. And then finally, I want to thank Michaela in particular. As Shanara mentioned earlier, she's been invaluable. Unsurprisingly, still very sad that she was stolen away by Emory, but incredibly grateful to have her as a mentor, and also incredibly grateful for her assistance. And then last, we couldn't have done it without Adrian, Max, and DCH. Really, it's meant a lot, in the middle of all of the challenges that we would have anyway, but especially being young and kind of getting started with all this stuff this year. All the support and volunteering and assistance from everyone has been incredible. I wouldn't be able to do it without any of y'all, and so thank you so much. With that, I want to start the actual awards section by shouting out the non-advancing 3 threes, which are Wyoming LR, Minnesota DP, and USC NH, as well as Michigan HS, who would be advancing but is unable to do so because one of the 2 of them is sick. Congratulations to all 3 of you for a great tournament. And with that, we'll move to the speaker awards. The 20th speaker of this year's tournament is Austin Keenel from the University of Kentucky. Number 19, Kevin Sun from the University of Southern California. Number 18, Bryce Rao from Minnesota. 17, Nathan Glancy from Michigan State University. 16, Ada Bethely from Wake Forest. Number 15, Mark Eusterman from UC Berkeley. Number 14, Joshua Harrington from the University of Michigan. 13, Holland Bald from Dartmouth College. Number 12, Julian Kufor from Southern California. Number 11, Jordan D from the University of Kentucky. Number 10, Fontrez White from Cal State Fullerton. Number 9, Michael Eusterman from UC Berkeley. Number 8, Ayana Trotman from Wake Forest. Number 7, Kelly Phil from the University of Michigan. Number 6, Akash Deo from Northwestern. Number 5, Gabriel Chang Deutsch from Dartmouth College. Number 4, David Griffith from the University of Kentucky. Number 3, Jeremy Margolin from the University of Michigan. The runner-up for top speaker this year is Ethan Muse from the University of Michigan, meaning that the top speaker of this year's tournament is Nina Friedman from Northwestern University. Congratulations, all of you. Really great debates this week so far. The last 2 announcements that I want to make really briefly are first, want to clarify, as this is relevant to the Michigan thing earlier, but potentially a couple others of you also, the way that we've handled, given the kind of unprecedented nature of the last couple of days and all the challenges people are wrestling with, we have, over the course of this tournament, been more relaxed in our approach to maverick wins where needed than is sort of traditionally the case. That said, in order for a team to clear, you must know tonight that both partners will be able to debate, because we do want to ensure that all of the spots that are available in elims are filled by people, by teams that will be able to compete in the tournament. The second note that I want to make right now is that we will be releasing the Elim Bracket tonight. That should happen pretty much right after the awards conclude. I think that's everything. So Shanara, I will kick it back to you.
I think the only other thing is we will not be releasing the actual pairing in terms of the list of judges for that specific round, but we will have a list of judges who are going to be used in the morning, and Gary will release that so you know if you have to judge or not. I believe that's correct. If I'm not right, Michaela will tell me. Okay, so that concludes the award ceremony. We want to thank you all for coming and participating. We look forward to watching Elim debates tomorrow. If there are any issues or concerns during the tournament, feel free to contact the TAB staff. We will be available to you throughout the rest of the tournament. Everybody have a great evening, and we appreciate you being here.